Hey, we are here at Rock Harbor Church in Melbourne, Florida. We just wrapped up a lighting upgrade here in this sanctuary. We're going to unpack the gear used in this. We're going to show you some before and afters, and we're also going to talk about some camera and video stuff as well, so stay tuned for that. We'll also dive into control, and we'll unpack the different areas that you should be looking at if you're considering a lighting upgrade as well. All this coming up. Right now, we're going to take a step back in time before the lighting upgrade, and we're going to show you what it looked like prior to the new lights. We just stepped back in time. This is what Rock Harbor was currently operating their worship services under. We have a couple very old fixtures at the ceiling, some light on the back wall, but as you can see, a dramatic difference in the video quality. So the room is appearing dark. We're on stage here and we're just not lit very well for the people in the room. So the room is beautiful here. It has high wood ceilings, stained glass, and we wanted to work with the room. And in order to maintain that traditional feel, but yet bring them into the modern worship age with new technology and the lighting upgrade, it was important to work with the aesthetics of the room to create a very clean setup. So in older spaces like this, traditionally they would use a big flood fixture and they would just scatter light across the stage. So with that old style flood light, you are spreading light everywhere, washing screens, washing walls, and there's no fine positioning of that. So all of those old fixtures have been retired and taken out of the system. Their former control was located outside of the sanctuary in a corner, so if you wanted to go out and dim lights, you had to have someone out there trying to figure out when the cue was, because it's literally outside of the auditorium. So all that control has been brought into their tech booth. They now can operate all their new lights in a very easy way. Okay, we're back in the auditorium at the new lighting control position. So the setup is made up of LightKey here, super volunteer friendly, easy to learn. And then we also have a Wall Panel Pro for easy recall of presets for maybe someone coming in for a Bible study during the week, or a pastor that's just officiating a wedding during the weekend and they don't want to mess with starting up a lighting computer or even how to run it. They can just come in, hit the preset, fire up the lights. You can program up to 8 different presets on the Wall Panel Pro. That way you can maybe have just house lights on, no stage lights. Second preset could be stage lights at just different intensities, and then you can also add color or multiple different color presets. That way it gives you a variety. You can program up to 8 different scenes. That works with any DMX control system out there. So that's a great little element to add to any lighting setup. So with LightKey, as it's very user-friendly and it's driven by using your mouse and keyboard, sometimes you want physical faders. So Frank's going to talk about a really easy solution you can incorporate if you're using LightKey, and that's using a Midi board. So we have the APC Mini here. Frank, you want to talk a little bit about this, what they can do with it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I really love the Akai APC Mini MK2. It's a really affordable MIDI board. It's got a lot of buttons, got a lot of physical faders on it. What I really love about LightKey is it's so stinking easy to be able to connect it to things to do MIDI control for it. So the APC Mini, you simply plug it in via USB into your Mac, and then you can record your physical faders to control your front wash, your house lights if it's controlled via DMX. You can even store lighting scenes on the physical buttons. Another cool bonus with it is the little buttons will change to the LED color that matches up within LightKey to help make it a little more straightforward for volunteers.
Let's go ahead and bring our lights back up, and we're going to unpack all the various pieces of equipment that created this new lighting setup. Okay, so here we go. We're back into our new upgraded lighting setup. In a more traditional space like this, it is important that the right gear is selected to contain and maintain that specific characteristic that the room carries. So Frank, we'll talk about front wash first. Front wash is priority number 1 in any lighting setup. So let's unpack how many fixtures we used here and which fixture type, and then the why behind that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a total of 8 Pro Wash Maxes rigged up at, there's different beams here installed in the ceiling. We use Pro Wash Maxes because they create a really powerful, nice, even wash to help light up the front of the platform here. And we have a secondary row dedicated for lighting up the upper part of the stage here for the drummer, different parts of the stage up there. So front wash is the first priority that you need to incorporate into a new lighting system, because that'll help illuminate those that are on the platform. So that way One, it brings attention to those who are speaking, and also it helps to greatly improve the visibility of the person on camera as well for simulcasting.
We're up here on the lift at the ceiling. We're about 30 feet up. So we chose Fresnels for this space versus like a ellipsoidal fixture. And the reason for that is a Fresnel gives us more bang for the buck. We can cover a wider area with less fixtures, but we still have the control. And we have the control, one, by barn doors that we're able to shutter up and down to keep the light off of screens or off of the front area just in front of the stage, but also this has a variable beam angle, so we can adjust it from 15 degrees to 50 degrees. So we're able to dial in and make the beam smaller or larger and keeping it where we want it and focusing that light. That's very important in the front wash. With lower quality or lower cost fixtures, they are just splashing light everywhere. There's no control over your light. That's a very important piece to a front wash fixture, is lighting beam control. Okay, so that's the front wash setup that is implemented. We want to dive in deeper on the camera side and why lighting is very important before you go out and just spend more money and keep blaming your cameras or blowing money on $10,000 or $20,000 camera upgrade when the problem is most likely your lights. So I'm going to bring in Jake from Churchfront to talk more about cameras and lights.
Thanks for having me, Craig. Our team is always consulting churches on audio upgrades, live stream upgrades, of course lighting as well. That's when we get to work together with Pro Church Lights. And before we ever start recommending new camera purchases or live stream upgrades, we always ask clients, what is your lighting situation? And that was the case here. This is my own home church that I go to. So as we were planning out our upgrades in phases here at Rock Harbor Church over the next few years, one of the very first things I wanted to do was get the lighting system dialed in properly, because that was gonna have a huge effect on what we're able to capture on camera. And to be honest, Craig, it was annoying coming here on Sunday mornings and I'm like, I can't see our pastor's face. Like, I can't wait to see how people are gonna be kind of caught off guard by that, where they're like, wow, Kevin, I can see you for the first time. It's kind of like subliminal for most people, but now they'll actually finally see him clearly.
So can you show us some of those before and afters?
Yeah, so here is some footage of Frank on the stage with our old lighting system and with our current cameras that we have right now. So this is what our live stream used to look like every single week. And the problem here, where the image is darker, this is actually when the camera is exposed properly. It doesn't have the ISO or the gain cranked really high. So you'll see it's just dark. So to compensate for that, a lot of people put their cameras in automatic mode, or they manually crank up the gain on the camera, and that introduces a ton of noise and it just looks like a garbage image. So now that we have the new lights installed, here's what it looks like. It almost looks like I'm using a completely different camera. So much more clear. I can have the proper exposure settings dialed in. I have a pretty wide open aperture. I was able to bring the gain all the way down to 0, so it's not adding any additional noise into that image. And that's why even using the same PTZ optics camera, it just looks night and day difference.
So there we go. We're looking at it before and an after. No new cameras here, just lights and a little tweaking within taking the cameras from auto exposure and going to a manual setting. If they want to learn more about how to do that within their system, where can they go?
Check out the Churchfront YouTube channel. Of course, we have hundreds of videos and tutorials, and you can search live streaming or camera related videos there. And of course, go to churchfront.com if you want to work with our team, and we can assist you through this, whether it's virtual or in-person consulting.
Okay, so there you have it. Front wash, priority number one. If you don't have any light hitting your stage, your cameras are gonna suffer, as Jake was saying. Also, your congregation is just not gonna be able to really see what's going on here. So number two, foundation two, Frank's gonna unpack, and that's backlight. Frank, tell us a little about how many fixtures we're using this setup, what they are, and why it's needed.
So we're using 4 Pro Kicks to help highlight the backs and heads and shoulders of those on the platform. So we have 2 Pro Kicks here positioned up there. That's dedicated for the pulpit area, if you will. That's to help highlight subjects so that way they pop visually more on camera. And then we have an additional 2 Pro Kicks. That's dedicated for the band on the upper part of the stage.
Okay, so with the Pro Kicks, they're RGB W fixtures. Where can we implement that during like a worship service?
So I love using RGBW style wash fixtures for backlight because it gives me the creative options available to be able to change color, to help match up with motion backgrounds, help help set the mood a little bit. But I really love using these for during worship, so that way I could do some really dynamic colors like purple, orange, that can match up with my lighting options I have.
Lastly, after backlight, we have these wall wash elements that were incorporated into the room. Why don't you go and unpack the quantities, the fixture types, as well as maybe some ideas on how people out there can upgrade their auditoriums and implement something like this.
So we're using 4 pro bars. We have some pro bars here along the back walls over here. We have 2 strategically placed on the floor that's shooting straight up. And then we actually are using a pro kick to help highlight, that's rigged up there. It's helping highlight the top where the cross is right there. So we're using 2 different style lights to do atmospheric style lights, or scenic lighting, if you want to call it that too. Pro bars are really powerful. Color mixing, they are red, green, blue, white, amber mixing fixtures, and we're using our pro kick, just used in a different application for the upper part of that.
Okay, so there you have it. Rock Harbor Church and the lighting upgrade we did here. You saw some befores and afters of both their cameras, as well as what it looks like in the room. So if you're considering upgrading your auditorium, feel free to reach out to us at Pro Church Lights. We really want to come alongside you to ensure you are purchasing equipment that's right for your space. There's a lot of different rooms. We're in more of a traditional room here, which we love working in. We also love working in more of the modern spaces. So no matter where you are in your church journey and what style of church you are in, we're here to help you understand the reasons for the different locations and equipment choices. That way you're confident as you go forward in making decisions about your lighting system. Please download the catalog. We also have an online visual mock-up service that you can take advantage of that will allow you to receive visuals of what new lights can look like in your space. That's one of our #1 services that we offer that churches find to be just a great way to share with their teams and leadership because it's visual. A picture is worth 1,000 words, so that visual mock-up service can get you that. If you're enjoying this, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. We're gonna be unrolling videos like this showing traditional spaces, more contemporary spaces, and how you can transform your church through the lighting to enhance your live stream and the space for your worship environment. Thanks for joining us. See you around next time.